Game three, conference semifinals, Boston Celtics at the Milwaukee Bucks this evening. The Bucks take it over the Celtics. Final score 103 to 101. Currently, the series is sitting at 2-1. The Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of stuff to go over during the course of this game. Obviously, the physicality was definitely there. This game, it could have went either way. The But just Giannis tonight. I think that's the appropriate way to start with Giannis, considering the fact that whatever it goes back to what we was talking about in game one. Like he is so effective on the floor, regardless if he's scoring or he's just being a playmaker or just being a threat for the Milwaukee Bucks. And again, it goes back to the whole matchup thing with how can the Boston Celtics match up their personnel with the Milwaukee Bucks? And tonight for Giannis, 42 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. By the way, 2 assists short of 10 assists, which I needed for me to end up winning the bet tonight for 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 this game. But when you have Giannis on the floor, it's almost impossible for the Boston Celtics to come out here and go small. They can't do it. And it requires them to leave Robert Williams on the floor and Al Horford on the floor. Now, some can make the argument of getting some Tice some smoke, but honestly, I don't think Tice can provide that offensive production that Robert Williams and Al Horford can do. Considering like just a perfect example, Al Horford tonight, 22 points, was playing out of his mind. Even though I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks moving forward, they're going to have to take Al Horford a little bit more seriously moving forward, considering the fact he has some pretty good open looks at the 3 point line, and he was actually hitting them. So I expect the Bucks to make an adjustment for Game 4. But back to Giannis, just amazing. Him able to affect the game, not just scoring, passing, and just being on the floor. And it goes back to what personnel for the Boston Celtics, like what could they possibly do to stop Giannis? And Al Horford at a time was doing the best job on him, but at some point you're going to have to take him off the floor. And once he's off the floor, that's it. Giannis is going off. But it didn't help tonight for the Boston Celtics that Jason Tatum was nowhere to be found. Only had 10 points, was 4 for 19 from the field. Um, and it was just the Boston Celtics solely relied on Jalen Brown and Hal Horford tonight. Now Jalen Brown back to back games, he scored over 20 points. So I'm expecting the consistency from him moving forward. But again, it goes back to offensively for the Boston Celtics. It can't just be a two-man game between Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like you got to get these other guys involved. Like it just there's too many possessions that I see them go down the court and they just go out and just do their own thing. And I feel like that's what put them in the hole early on in the game, along with turnovers, of course, because they did commit a lot of turnovers along with the Milwaukee Bucks. But in the third quarter, I feel like that was like in the third quarter, like the Milwaukee Bucks, it looked like the Milwaukee Bucks were going to pull away, and it was just about to be like they was going to take a 20-point lead, and then it just turned around in the fourth quarter where Al Horford just had a stretch where he was just scoring relentlessly along with Jalen Brown. Again, it's got to come down to offense. Like that's the only question that I have with Boston moving forward in the series. Like, how are they going to put the ball in the hoop? Like they have a lot of question marks with guys. Like other production, Marcus Smart 9 points, Robert Williams 10 points, but they're all like scrap boards and putbacks mostly. Uh, outside of that, really, you're not really getting any offensive production from them. And that's my biggest concern for the Boston Celtics moving forward. A lot of their points come in transition. So if the Milwaukee Bucks could come out here be more efficient from the field like they were tonight with Giannis, Drew Holiday, it's going to be like it's a possibility they can go home in the next two games. It's a possibility they can go home. And speaking of Drew Holiday, because I feel like he played aggressive again this game. I feel like he wasn't as aggressive in game two, but Drew Holiday played really aggressive this evening with 25 points. Especially defensively. Like he was a pest defensively. Had three steals, three key steals, and like he was just all over the place. Um, what I would like to see, because we talked about this at the end of game one, we got to get Brook Lopez involved. Again, it comes down to player personnel. The Boston Celtics are way too small, and they have to keep a big on the court at all times, whether it be Al Horford, whether it be Robert Williams. But somebody's going to be on Giannis, and Giannis requires so much attention. Like it should give Brook Lopez a lot of one-on-ones, like with a hook shot or something. Like there was a play in the second quarter where Pat Connaughton shot a three and Al Horford was lined up on he was lined up on a guard. I can't remember which guard it was, but he was lined up on a guard, and that would have been a perfect matchup for him to get involved. So moving forward, I would like to see Brook Lopez more involved in the offense for the remainder of this series. Now Wesley Matthews, not the most prettiest thing, but the job he did on Jason Tatum tonight the job he did on Jason Tatum tonight what was phenomenal. Like if you able to cap that offense from Jason Tatum on a consistent basis, again, the Boston Celtics may be going home because it's a two-man game. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You gotta if you eliminate one of them, you might as well you could like your chances. You could definitely like your chances. But the Boston Celtics, again, I'm gonna go ahead and just stay with my earlier prediction. I feel like it's gonna just go 6 games. It's gonna go 6. They're gonna take the next two. The Milwaukee Bucks are gonna take the next two, and we're gonna go ahead and get ready for. Or I already told you, I think the Heat gonna pull this one off unless we get a consistent dominant. Well, it wasn't exactly dominant by Joel Embiid, but if Joel Embiid could somehow save that series, I think the 76ers can somehow beat the Heat.
Nah, for the bay. Nah, for the bay. We don't care what you said. Nah, for the bay. Nah, for the bay. Nah, for the bay. We ain't hearing what you said. Nah, for the bay. Fire!